everyone, welcome back to Yoga for First Responders. Today's practice we're going to be focusing on our physical connection. I often talk about how important the breath is and how the breath can quickly bring us back to the moment and help calm things down. But sometimes when we're in tough situations or maybe we feel the heart rate rising and we're about to spiral, sometimes even the breath is hard to find or connect with, especially if we're breathing quickly, right? So today I just wanted to offer another tool, another option, which is a physical connection. And that can be anything from your feet touching the floor or maybe your fingertips touching each other. So we're just gonna flow through a brief practice. And as we do so, we're just gonna try to notice the different physical connections that you might be able to tune into anytime, on or off the mat. So hopefully that makes sense, and let's give it a try. So we're going to begin seated. Feel free to sit anywhere that you are. Maybe you're on a chair at your desk or on the floor at home or in the car, wherever works for you. And as we begin, let's take a few circles with those shoulders. And sometimes it helps to slowly settle into stillness. So feel free to move around however you would like as we begin here. So maybe you circle out those shoulders, maybe you shift your weight side to side or forward and back. Just giving yourself a moment to settle into your seat. And when you find a comfortable space, a comfortable spot, feel free to relax those shoulders down the back. But as those shoulders are relaxed, we still want to lift tall through the crown of the head and through the torso, just creating a little better path or space for that breath to flow in and out of the body. Now maybe you close those eyes, or as always, if you'd rather keep them open, you can just find a spot to gaze at on the floor, maybe a few feet out in front of you. And from the beginning, let's try to notice any type of physical connection. So if you are seated on the ground or on a chair, take a moment to notice, maybe starting from the feet. Maybe you feel the bottom of your feet connected to the floor, or maybe the sides of your feet are touching the floor. Or maybe you feel your sitting bones, the bottom of your seat connected to the mat, the ground, or the chair. Or maybe you start to notice wherever your hands are, whether they're on your legs, maybe they're along your sides. What are those hands touching? As you start to notice these connections, you might find that the more awareness or the more focus you put into those connections, you might start to feel a subtle energy flow there. There's an old saying that goes, where awareness goes, energy flows. So just try testing that out. Maybe you want to focus or bring awareness to where your hands are connected to the legs or the ground. And just try to keep your focus there for a couple more moments, a couple more breaths. And just see, you might start to feel a subtle tingling or maybe a little bit of warmth or heat. And maybe you don't feel anything at all, and that's totally okay too. Let's just take 3 more breaths here. Settling into your seat, finding those connections. All right, maybe that next breath in, feel free to keep those eyes closed if they are, or you can flutter them open. But let's just inhale and reach those arms all the way up towards the ceiling, all the way until you feel those hands touch. The arms might be bent, they might be straight, doesn't matter. Just feel that connection with those hands, and then exhaling them down to your heart center. Keeping awareness on those hands as they lower down. Your thumbs might connect with the heart. They might be out here, whatever works for you. But let's keep those hands connected, and we'll inhale those hands all the way back up. And then exhaling them all the way out and down, nice and slow, until you feel that connection with the ground underneath the hands or the fingertips. So 3 breaths like that as you inhale, reaching out and up till you feel the connection. Exhaling, hands down to your heart center. Maybe the thumbs touch the heart. Inhaling as you reach back up, and exhaling all the way out and down, just moving slowly, intentionally, until you feel those fingertips connect with the ground. Inhaling as you reach up. Exhaling, hands together, down to your heart. Inhaling as you reach back up, and exhaling all the way out and down. All right, we're gonna keep that right hand on the floor, and slowly we're just gonna drop left ear down towards that left shoulder. Now you can stay right here, maybe bring awareness to that right side of the neck, or maybe to take a little deeper or to add another connection, you can bring that left hand to the side or to the top of the head. Now we don't wanna be pulling on the head, just a very gentle touch with your hand on the head, and just allowing the weight of your arm to gently take that stretch a little deeper. Maybe bring awareness back to that right hand that's on the floor. And if you would like, you can slowly start to walk those fingertips away from the body, or maybe to one side or the other. Again, just noticing each spot along the way as the fingertips move, or maybe they're staying still. 2 more breaths here on this side. And then maybe lowering that left hand down to the floor till you feel the floor under those fingertips. Inhaling the head back up to center. Give yourself a moment in the middle here just to notice both sides of the neck. And then as you feel ready, lowering that right ear down towards the right shoulder. So slightly lifting the chin. Maybe stay right here with both hands on the floor, or you can bring your right hand up to the side of the head. Checking in with the side of the neck. Maybe you feel a little stretch, maybe not. Or maybe you explore with the left hand as you walk those fingertips slowly around on the mat. And you can also do this seated in a chair or in the car. Just bringing that hand underneath the seat, or just out to the side, maybe to whatever is resting next to you. So you might feel that stretch changing through the side of the neck. So just trying to notice that, but then also staying with that connection of those fingertips on the floor, whether they are moving or being still, for 2 more breaths. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and lower both hands back to the floor. Inhaling the head back up to center. And exhale, go ahead and soften and relax through the torso. Okay, let's uncross those legs. We're gonna bring those feet to the floor out in front of us. Feet about hip width apart. Hands can rest lightly on those legs. And for a moment, just try lifting up all 10 toes, flexing through those feet. We're just slowly gonna move those feet side to side, waking up those ankles, maybe make a few circles with the feet, with the ankles. And then as those toes lift back up, see if you can create a little space in between each one of those toes. And then very slowly, we're gonna lower the foot down, and maybe 1 toe at a time. Again, I know not all toes work individually, but just try to connect each toe with the mat underneath you. Just a gentle connection here. So feeling the connection between your feet and the floor, and then bringing awareness up to the hands as they're connected with the knees. So as we move through some seated cat and cows here, you might find that grip starting to tighten on those knees, especially as we lift up, because we want to use those legs for a little bit of support to help us lift and open, right? But as we exhale and come back, maybe we can relax and soften that connection between the hands and the legs. So moving as you feel ready, maybe on the inhale, we lift through the torso, lifting the heart up, reaching it forward, and those shoulders draw down the back. And then on the exhale, we round through the spine, drawing the belly in, and the chin comes closer to the chest. Inhaling as we come forward, maybe you feel those feet reconnect with the ground. And exhaling, maybe try to soften the hands on those knees as you exhale and round. So I know we've done this a lot, this movement often in our practice, but rather than focusing on the flexion and extension of the spine here, try to keep awareness on these connections, how they shift, how they change as we move. Again, try to soften that connection with the hands and the legs as you exhale and come back. And as you inhale, maybe gently grounding down into those toes a little bit more to help you lift and open. 2 more full breaths here. Always giving yourself permission to stay and hold anywhere along the way. Awesome. And then go ahead and slowly come back to that neutral spine. Whenever you get there, releasing those hands to the floor, feeling the fingertips touch the mat, and slowly we're going to lift up onto those toes or onto the feet. Making your way all the way up to standing. And when you get there, feel free to walk it out a few times on those feet. Maybe you shake out those arms, circle out those shoulders. All right. Now, just like we did as we were seated, as you have both feet on the floor, see if you can lift up those toes. Slowly try to create some space in between each one and gently connecting them with the mat. Now just ignore my toes. I have a nice big white thing in between. I broke my pinky toe last weekend, but I can still do yoga, so we're all good. All right, let's go ahead and bring those hands to our heart. Turning that gaze downward once again. Taking a brief scan through the body as we start at those feet, grounding down into those feet. See if you can press the mat away from you with those feet, getting a little heavier into those legs, and then slowly moving that awareness up through the legs, through the core, into the chest, the shoulders, the crown of the head, and then exhaling as those shoulders relax, bringing awareness to those hands. Again, just test out that theory. Where awareness goes, energy flows. Take a moment to feel the fingertips. Just that subtle connection of those fingertips touching one another. And one more breath here. And then next breath in, let's go ahead and reach those arms all the way out and up, just like we did as we were seated, until you feel those hands touch at the top. And then exhaling, hands to your heart. We're gonna lower those hands all the way down towards the ground. Feet are about hip width apart here, so step the mat a little bit if needed. And we're gonna start to just sway side to side. But as we do so as I turn to my left, I'm gonna have my right hand just gently connect with my left leg. And then as I turn to the right, I'm gonna have my opposite hand touch with the other leg. So just starting to sway. You can go quickly, you can go slowly, but just try to connect your hand with the opposite leg each time you sway side to side. So just getting some movement through the spine, keeping a gentle or soft bend in those knees to help yourself move a little bit deeper. And slowly start to feel each time that hand connects with the leg. Two more times each side. Bringing awareness back to those feet. Nice and steady, connected with the ground. And then slowly unwinding. Okay, as we come to the center of our mats, let's bring our hands back to our heart center. We're going to step our right foot to the back. And turning that right foot slightly out to the side. Let's turn our shoulders, our gaze facing forward as we start to bend into that left knee. As we bend into that left knee, a lot of our weight comes forward. So as you notice that, try to bring those shoulders back above those hips and see if we can ground down a little more into this back foot. Notice where the pinky toe is on this back foot. Try to press into that edge of that pinky toe, the whole outer edge of that foot. And then we're going to move with our breath as we inhale and reach these arms up. Let's straighten the front leg till you feel the connection of those hands, and then exhaling, hands to our heart as we bend the front leg. So we're going to inhale and stand up tall, reaching those arms up, feeling the hands touch, and exhaling, hands to your heart. Just slowly moving, again, with that breath. But rather than focusing on the specific movement, try to focus on one of those connections. Sometimes it's easier to focus on the feet connected to the floor, or sometimes it's easier to focus on our hands connected, different parts in the body. 2 more times here, just moving, connecting, inhaling as we reach up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. One last time as we inhale and reach. And then on our exhale, we're going to pause here in this warrior one with that front knee bent. Let's inhale, release those hands as we open and turn to the side, finding that warrior two. You can adjust those feet if needed. And then we're going to reach forward. Inhale as you reach forward through the left hand, turning that left hand up, and exhale, reverse warrior. Now as we do so, see if you can feel that right hand resting on the leg. Pausing right here, just for one more full breath. Keeping awareness on that right hand and the back leg. And then go ahead and slowly come back to that warrior two. Bringing those hands back to your heart center. Feel those palms connect as you face forward, warrior one. And then slowly stepping that foot to the front. Feeling both feet reconnect to the mat. Give yourself a moment. Maybe take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Awesome. Let's try the other side. As we step our left foot to the back, turn that left foot slightly out to the side. And then as we face forward, we're going to bend into that front knee. It can be a little bend, it can be a deep bend. Just try to keep that knee behind or right above that ankle. Again, a lot of awareness coming to the pinky toe edge of that back foot. And then maybe as we inhale and start to rise, you can start to feel that heel, that front heel, ground down a little deeper into the mat. And then exhaling, front knee bends as those hands lower to the floor. So you can choose as we move here. Simple movement, doesn't require a whole lot of thought, right? You can choose which connection you would like to focus on for these few breaths. Maybe the front heel as it grounds down as you inhale and lift. Maybe the outer edge of the back foot as you exhale and lower. Or maybe those fingertips as they connect and exhale, lower down. So 2 more breaths here. Just giving yourself options of things to help refocus or recenter. Sometimes the breath will help, sometimes it's the connection that'll help. Go ahead and pause. Awesome. All right, let's take a deep breath in and just open these arms out to the side, turning the torso towards the side of the mat as well. Nice deep breath in as we turn this front palm up, and exhale, feel that left hand lower down to the left leg. See if we can soften that connection between the hand and the leg. Just for 2 more breaths here. Actively reaching up through that right arm. Maybe you notice those feet grounded down a little more to keep yourself lifted. And then go ahead and come back to that warrior two. Bringing those hands back to your heart center as you face forward. And then slowly stepping that back foot to the front. Coming back to center. Awesome. Okay, go ahead and bring both feet to the floor. Maybe they're close together, maybe they're hip width apart, whatever works better for you. We're just going to interlace these fingers, bringing them behind the body. Nice and strong. We're going to roll those shoulders back and down and try to lift those arms or those hands away from the body. Finding the breath, feeling the feet connected to the floor, feeling those hands connected to one another. One more breath in. We're going to lift nice and tall through the crown of the head. And then on the breath out, let's bend our knees as we start to hinge forward. Finding a little forward fold. Maybe those arms come up overhead. Maybe we drop the chin a little closer to the chest. And then when you feel ready, letting those hands go, bringing those hands to the floor, feeling that connection with the mat once again. So bending those knees as deeply as you need to so those hands can connect to the floor. And then go ahead and slowly bend those knees. We'll lower the hips down. Feel the back of those sitting bones connect to the mat. Go ahead and bring hands to the back of those legs. We're going to lower all the way down to our back. And slowly, if it feels okay on that lower back, we're just going to rock side to side. Bringing awareness to the lower back or maybe the sides of the hips as they move across the mat. You can always find a connection somewhere. And then as we bring these knees back to center, let's lower the feet to the floor. And we're going to walk those feet out a little wider than those hips. The knees are pointing up. Maybe our hands come to the floor as well, so we can feel the palms touching the floor or the mat. And then just very slowly, let's lower both knees over to the left side, rolling onto the edges of the feet. And then inhaling back up through center. And exhaling both knees over to the right side. Inhaling back up to center. And slowly just alternating side to side. So we're moving through the knees, moving through the hips. Again, try to find a connection. Maybe it's the bottom of the feet or the sides of the feet. Maybe it's the lower back or the sides of the hips, noticing when they touch the floor. I know a lot of these connections or things seem tiny, and they are. There's very small connections, but as we start to notice the small things, right, then we can help adjust or change as needed, which will transfer over to the bigger things that tend to draw our attention more. Let's just go one more time each side. And then go ahead and bring those knees back to center whenever they get there, and slowly just let the knees rest alongside one another. And as those knees connect, you might feel the lower back start to relax over the mat. Maybe try turning those palms facing up and feel the back of your hands touching the floor. And just for 5 breaths, we're going to pause here as we finish things up. Maybe you close those eyes, or if you'd rather keep them open, just try to find one spot up above to gently gaze at. And just one more time, if that works for you, briefly scanning from the feet all the way up to the top of the head, trying to find those areas that you feel connected to the floor or the mat below you. Maybe it's the bottom of the feet, maybe the lower back, maybe the upper back, the shoulder blades. Maybe you can feel the backs of the arms and the elbows, or the back of your hands touching the floor. Maybe the back of your head. One more breath here, just feeling that body gently sink a little deeper into those connection points. And feel free to stay here as long as you are able to today, maybe a couple more minutes. But otherwise, when you feel ready to slowly come back up, feel free to bring those knees back in towards the chest. You can roll to one side, or you can rock and roll your way up to a seat. Once more, just finding a comfortable space to sit. Give yourself a moment to sit up tall and just notice what you might feel in the body. Maybe putting one word to what it is that you feel right now or how you feel. Feeling the hands connect with those legs, and then maybe on that next breath in, we reach those arms back up till you feel those hands connect. Exhaling, hands to your heart. And then one more breath together. Let's breathe in through the nose as we reach the hands back up, and exhale out through the mouth. So you lower those hands down and feel the floor one more time underneath those fingertips. Thanks for joining today. Great to have you as always. And I hope as you go throughout your day, you not only pay attention to the breath, but also those physical connections that we often don't notice. So thanks guys. Namaste.